Hey, what's going on, guys? Zach Spear here. I want to spend a few minutes with you today and talk about linear income versus exponential income. The main differences between working a job or building a business that has a potential to take off and give you some exponential return on your time. So let's talk about this. And by the way, I'm sorry if I sound a little under the weather. I caught a flu over the past few days. And totally crazy. Chicago weather is nuts. It was 70 degrees 2 weeks ago. I'm outside cooking hamburgers on the grill. And today it's literally complete snowed in. It's been pouring snow for 2 days, so absolutely nuts. But anyway, let's get into it. So this is a graph of what you would make as, or the type of income that you would make as working a job or maybe in a more traditional type of business. And so that on the bottom here is how old you are, and then right here on the left side is how much money that you make annually. And so I got two sides of this. I got one for like the majority of all income earners in the United States, and then one for maybe a little higher paid employees. So let's start with the higher paid employees first. Now, this is someone who got out of school at 22. And right away, they're starting to make like 50 grand a year or so. Now, this is definitely not the norm. Depending on who you are listening to this, if you have been in the corporate world a while, you know this to be true. If you, if you've just been in the working world for a little bit, you know that this is accurate. If you are maybe a little inexperienced in the working world and that kind of a thing, this might seem like more commonplace than not, but I can assure you this is the rare population that follows a trajectory this nice looking. So this is for people that are probably more in like the STEM category. They're in the higher paid engineering positions, things like science based, maybe even like maybe not like high level medical, or actually even some medical stuff, depending on how horrible the student loans are. But someone getting out of school, 22 years old, let's say they're making 50, 60,000 or so a year. By the time they hit 30, they probably 8 years of promotions and stuff like that, probably making around 100. By 38, like 120 range, and they're in late 40s, probably like 150, spike up to 200. And then by the time they're in their retirement age, the peak years, maybe in like the 200 to 250 range. And then when they retire, of course, income goes way down to less than half of their earnings. This is even pretty generous. I have a friend that works in life insurance, and he says the average retiree makes like 15 to 20 grand a year right now. That's with Social Security. Currently, if you're watching this and Social Security is still out there, that's with Social Security. So this is probably going to go even less than that, but that's just, very generous. I try to make this whole thing very generous for linear income so that we couldn't be bashed for it. Now let's look at what's most likely, or what's most people's scenarios. Most people's scenario is more like this. Graduate school, 22. Average income of a college graduate is $36,000 a year right now. That's according to the, what's the name of this? The Economic Publishing Institute, I believe. I'm going to lose my place. Yeah, Economic Policy Institute. And so we'll come down here wherever I was, which was here we go. The median income for a college graduate is $36,000 a year right now, and that's with $35,000 in student loan debt. So if they graduate at $36,000 a year, and then let's say get some promotions, do some good stuff, making 50 grand by the time they're 30, moving on up to 38. Let's say in their 40s, making like 70, 80. By their 50s, make at 100. And then probably peak out somewhere around there, and then again retire, drops back down to less than half. So this is a linear progression. If you're familiar with any sort of just the graphs or any sort of math, this is called linear. So it just follows a nice smooth pattern, and that's really what's going to happen at any sort of a job. Even if you're in sales, you can have nice spikes here and there, but it's still going to follow a linear path, as you are probably well aware. And now let's look at network marketing or exponential type income. So this is a very generous look at network marketing, and we're going to look at some more non-generous approaches. But let's say you get started at 22, and of course, if you're 50, you're 55 right now, you're looking at this, totally fine. Just move the whole graph down. But say you're 22 and you start network marketing and you make absolutely $0 for the first 8 years, and then I don't know what level, like, I know a lot of network marketing companies use the word diamond as like a big pin for them. So diamond in my company means you're making probably around 250 to 300, 400 grand a year. So I'm going to use that. So let's say it takes you, 8 years just to even figure out what the heck you're doing, and then another 6 years to go diamond. That's 250,000 a year. You can see this is an exponential graph, an exponential return. It goes very slow and then kaboom, goes straight up. And even if you retire or don't do anything, it doesn't drop down, because as long as the team is in place producing volume, this income stays there. You're not forced to be there. You're not forced to actually do anything. But of course, a 6-year diamond ship or whatever pin in your company allows you to make, fairly sizable 6 figures. To do that in 6 years, or this is not 6 years, this is like 12 years, something like that, 14 years. So to do that in 14 years, that's not like lightning speed by any means. So that's already pretty conservative, but let's just say you're even slower than that. And let's say you start at 22. By the time you're 30, you're making like, 30 grand a year. By the time you're 38, you're really going crazy. You're making 50. By the time you're 46, you're making like 55, just going nuts. And then you finally get it under your belt and you say, all right, let's do this. And then 6 years later, bang, now you go diamond. So you still made some decent income. This is obviously not like, this is probably going to make your life a lot more comfortable. But when you finally hit the gas, it shoots right up and you have that exponential return where now you're making strong 6 figures and you're 54, or you did that in a total of 6 years. And again, it's not going to drop off when you retire. So if you compare these two, here is the conservative look at network marketing and the look at linear income. Your linear income job is going to seem like it's more stable because you show up and you get paid no matter what you do, as long as you don't super slack off. But your network marketing company is going to produce really at the level that you take action. But when you really push the gas down and get very, very focused, you have that potential for exponential return. And this is really what I want to showcase to you today, the potential for this huge exponential growth curve that you really can't experience anywhere else. So I hope this helped you guys. When I saw this, I was super pumped because I knew I couldn't, no matter what I did, no matter how well I did in the corporate world, which my trajectory followed a little bit more along the lines of the higher linear path when I was in the corporate world, and same with Ashley. But no matter what we did in the corporate world, we never had that chance for exponential return. And even with our agency business, we can have a very high linear income, but if we stop performing, it goes down. So network marketing is really, I believe, the best form of exponential income with the lowest risk out there, period, case closed. So anyway, I hope this helped you guys. And with that, I'll talk to you guys soon.